One of the questions that I get the most frequently: how do I close better? How do I increase my closing win rates? How do I get people to stop ghosting me, telling me it's too expensive? I want to take the pressure out of closing. I want to lose the anxiety from it. I want to get better results. How do I do that? So I did what any other human does. I asked ChatGPT to help me. It gave me 7 tips and techniques. I'm going to break them down specifically, and I'm also going to give you my tips and techniques. These are going to be things that you can use right after the video on your next call that you do. You're going to see the pressure go down. You're going to see people give you a little bit more honest feedback. You're going to see people come closer to the table to make this thing work. All of those things are going to happen for you. I'm also going to show you the really terrible ones that ChatGPT did too. So first one here is one of those, the assumptive close. This one is, in my opinion, the worst one. Old school tactic. You're really trying to pin people down. This is a trap question. You notice those words like pin down, trap? Like nobody wants that when they're trying to buy something, solve a problem, whatever it is. So here they're basically saying all about implementation. So notice that it's like, how do you get this? You want me to deliver it? You want to pick it up here? You want to pay up front? You want to pay monthly? Like all of these things are like implementation questions. And those should be phrased more as like a collective collaboration versus you tell me. It's like, no, we need to work together to figure this out. So ultimately, I hate this one. This one's gross. I would not do this one as a standalone, especially for a close. Now, the next one, this alternative choice, you may be thinking that this is similar, but notice the subtle difference where you're asking about a particular product or a particular service and asking them to pick between what they get versus how they get it. So I do like this. I don't think that this is a close though. I think this is like your question right before you close. So it's like, oh, were you seeing this as package 1 or package 2? So I think like their example here is really good. I just don't think that this is a closing question per se. Now the next one is this now or never close. Holy moly, the now or never close. If you are person to person, I would strongly advise you against doing this. The one that I see this happen with the most is software sales. And they'll go, hey, it's the end of the month. So we've got, let's say today's like August 28th. It's like, hey, we only have a couple more days left in the month. I'm going to give you this really crazy discount, but I need you to sign the contract by August 30th, 31st, however many days are in August. But once you do that, you'll lock in the price. If you miss it, I can't honor that discount. So right there, to me, being that I know software sales, I can get that discount whenever the hell I want. So right there, you're losing credibility with me. And if you're with a buyer who has even more experience than I have, because like some of these guys who have been buying software for years and years for large enterprise firms, like they are not going to go for this. And I think you immediately damage everything that you've built. And I mean, these could be meetings you spent months on and you ruin it all with this one tactic. So I would strongly advise against the now or never close when you're in person or over Zoom or whatever the case may be. This also could be, hey, like we only have 2 seats left in our course. We have a waiting list, so like you need to do it now. You can mention those things ahead of time, but using it as your closing technique is really, really gross, in my opinion. So I would get away from using this one. The summary close is up next, and I gotta say, that's the one that I use. So I really like the summary close. Basically what you're doing here is you're outlining everything that you pitched to kind of like wrap it up together. So that way you're talking about maybe like a main benefit, a problem that you solve, a time frame, and then maybe some other sort of value point. And then you're like, hey, should we go ahead and get you set up today? So the way that I view this in most examples is like, hey, so right now you're going to get this really cool thing that's going to do this for you in this amount of time. Should we go ahead and get you set up today? Something like that could really work. And I use it rather frequently. The one thing that I'll point out here is like, if you say this with a nice pace and almost like a confidence where it's like, oh, dude, I'm getting the bag ready for you right now, like that type of thing. Should we go ahead and get this thing going? Where you're almost like kind of in passing with it, and you take a little bit of the pressure off of it, you're gonna see a much better move. And how you know you get somebody is they won't answer directly, and they'll ask you another question. So they may be like, oh, well, what's the price again? Like, how does it work? Or like, what's this one feature? And your response there should actually be like, oh, it sounds like we should go back a couple steps. I apologize if I jumped too far ahead. Did you want to go back and like look at some of the other stuff? That way we can just like make sure that this is the right fit for you before we talk about anything else. So like now you're given an option to like really go back and just like make sure this is concrete. And now when you ask again, because you're going to ask again, you're going to close again, then it'll be a lot less of a high pressure situation. So the summary one, A+. The next one is the question close. And like the way that they did this is bad. So it's like, can you see how this software will save your team hours every week? Like, come on. So in this scenario, I like the strategy. I'm going to advise you to only use it when you know of a pain point and a problem that you can reference in this question. So an example could be like for real estate. Let's say you're talking to a family who lives in like a really tight apartment and they're trying to get out of the city because they're like building a family and like whatever the case may be, you got young kids, whatever. So a way that you could use that pain point in this question close is like you're showing a house, and at the end you're like, hey, can you visualize your family in this house building memories during Christmas time like this year? Like can you guys see that here? Like can you guys see it? And when you're doing that, you're like, yes, you're hinting towards the close, but you're really talking about the pain point. And it's like when you bring that out, what you're proving is that you're listening, that you're actually thinking about this, you're customizing, you're personalizing. And the opposite of this would be in that same scenario. It's like, hey, so can you see how this house is better than your apartment? And it's like, yes, I can see how the house is better than my apartment, but like that doesn't give me any value. It doesn't let me know that you're listening. So that you're going basically from like a generic good to now you're going elite with it. And that's where we want to be. We want to be up here with it. So I do like the question, but you guys got to be specific and really like pinpoint down something from the customer. Same thing with the testimonial close here. I think that this is fair. This requires you to really know your existing customer base, what their challenges were before they bought your product, and what life has been like after. So if you know those things and you pull this out, it's going to be really powerful. If you don't, I wouldn't even try, because it's going to come off as super scripted and very generic, and you're going to end up like commoditizing yourself in the process. I think that doing this one the wrong way is almost as big of a self-destruct as the assumptive close, to be honest with you, because you're going very scripted, very generic, and I think you're going to turn a lot of people off if you've done all the right things prior in this call. An example of how this could work if you're doing it the right way, but want to be a little bit more generic and less concrete, is like, hey, let's say you're a marketing agency that helps people with leads. Hey, most of the small businesses we work with, they see a spike in inbound leads within 2 weeks once they sign up with us. Now, I haven't heard anyone take us up on the guarantee yet, but if we don't see that spike, like if you don't get that spike of inbound leads, we will continue to work with you for free until you do. Should we go ahead and get you set up so we can start getting this going? So you can start getting some leads, whatever it is. So it's like that is a way where you can layer in a level of social proof by still making it generic and doing a sales pitch. The ultimate is like, hey, Joan also lives in Colorado and has a small business and brought us in to help her get more bookings for her salon. Within 2 weeks, we got her 10 new clients. Now we do have a guarantee. If you can't, if you don't hit that level, we're happy to work with you for free. but we're confident in our product. We haven't seen anybody take us up on the guarantee yet. So given that, do you want to do the Joan plan? You want to get on what she did? So that's a really good closing and super specific. The last one that they have here is a silence close. I don't think that this is a closing like pitch, but it's definitely a technique, and it's super cringe if you do it the wrong way. If you do it the right way, it is amazingly powerful. So old school tactic would be like, you would take you'd have like the contract or whatever, and you put the pen on it, and you'd like slide it across the table to them and get them, and then you'd be silent. Wait for them to sign it, and you'd ride that out for 20 seconds, a minute. I mean, like, it could take forever. So that's like an old school tactic. I've also seen it a couple times where people will be like, yeah, so to get this going, it costs $25,000. And then they're waiting for the person to say something. But like, you realize how like I didn't let them answer anything? Like, what are they supposed to say? Like, okay? Like, nobody's going to say that. And it's just going to get super awkward. The tension's going to go up. Now, the way to do this the right way is to basically say, hey, it's $25,000. Should we go ahead and do the paperwork now for this? Are you in a good spot to do this now? Are you in a good spot to do this today? Can we do this while I'm here? And then you're silent because you're giving them a question to answer, and they have to answer. So now it takes a little bit less out of it. Doing this during the call too is really important, the silence piece. So wanted to give you a couple quick tips here. Use these today. Use the summary one, use the different options here that you see. Feel free to reach out if you want me to help you write any of these specific to your business. It doesn't take long, and I think it'd be a good exercise for you. Either way, let's keep selling. Keep having fun out there, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much.